We're back. We're back. Iggy and I are back after a fortnight hiatus. I was off last week. PZ came in, the original member of CTA, and yeah, he was here with Iggy.
Yeah, did you watch?
I didn't because I was busy with my basketball stuff.
I know. Did you watch the next day, the weekend, Monday?
No, because I've been busy with basketball. The Alliance has consumed my life. You know, I didn't even, to show you how much it's consumed my life. I didn't even go to the game last night on Wednesday night in Verdun because I had to shift for FPF. And mind you, it was a TSN national game too, so they kicked us out actually. So
it didn't consume your life.
No, but it has. Like, you know, I have to like track everything and the whole nine. Like I gotta know what's going on and stuff. But anyway, Iggy's here. I'm here. Omar the Oriole is here as well as we get ready for another week of CTA. A lot to get to, a lot to clean up as we are now approaching pretty much more or less the halfway point for some teams, Eggs. Some have played 4, some have played 5, and some might be playing the 6th game by the end of the business week coming up here.
What?
Yeah.
I've only played 2 games in Div B.
Yeah, some teams have played 4 or 5 right now. If you look at the across the board right now. But anyway, so we had that. But before we get to that, big salute to our dear friend and colleague and loyal worker, servant of this league, Alex Dakla, who will be getting married on Saturday. Yes, so I had the line at 3.5 of who will be hammered on the weekend. So the line's 3.5. I could reveal the guest list. I don't care. So we got Peasy, we got you, we got Justin Blanchard, Simone Dagenet. I believe GM's coming.
Can I give Simone Dagenet his QB of the Year award at Eagle's wedding?
I would, bring it. Yeah, absolutely, man. That's such an FPF thing for us to do. Bring like FPF stuff, like a non-FPF related event. 100% bring it. Absolutely bring it. We'll do like a whole trophy presentation. If you bring the trophy, I'll hijack the microphone from the MC. I swear to God, I'll do it.
For an award ceremony.
Iggy, if you do that, we will rename the Division A trophy after you.
I'm bringing it.
Oh, you got to bring it. Because P's is going to be on board, right? JB's going to... The only person that won't be on board will be Rob Campana. Like, guys, come on.
Man, he's not the owner anymore, so he will be on board.
Guys, it's Eagle's big day. Eagle will be on board with this whole idea.
I love it.
So if you bring the trophy, I'm going to hijack the mic and we'll present it to Simone Dagenet, the quarterback of the year award.
A Division 3 quarterback of the year. I love it.
Oh, we're going to do it. All right, anyway, so a big congrats for Eagle. For those that don't know, he's getting married this weekend to the love of his life, which is Pokemon. Sorry, no, Megan. Megan's the love of his life. Pokemon's second love of his life. So congratulations to Eagle. Look, I know we see him as a rough and gruff type of guy, but he's got a soft heart deep down inside his little petite body of his. And congratulations to Eagle, to you and Megan. And congrats. We can't wait to see the over on the number of people who will be hammered by the end of the night. I got you. I got Simone, I got Justin, I got Peasy as my 4.
Nah, I'll go under. I'll go with like a 1 or 2. Peas hides it well, too.
Peas will be hammered. Trust me. I got a great photo from Rob's wedding from 2015. 255. Took a picture of Eagle, Peas, and Rob White. Man, were they ripped. Peas was gone. Like hammered, man. Hammered. Okay, some updates here, some things to clean up here. Good news, we are at 98.7% of team pictures completed. Thank God.
Like
we have 2 more to go.
None of the listeners care.
I do. It's a hallmark moment here at FPF. We're making inroads on being much more efficient. So 2 more to go. That's the great news. Uniforms, please be aware that you will be nailed if you don't have a proper number or on a uniform or color for uniform. So it can't be markered, can't be taped, can't be penned in. It has to be a proper, legit number, and the uniform color has to align to what your team color is or within range of that. If not, you will be nailed for no games played or stats. And that brings us to the next point of the fact that since we're at the halfway point, 5 games required for playoff eligibility. And for those who are trying to get those people, there are 5 games required. please make sure you come with the proper uniform, because if you don't, we'll give you the warning. But again, it's going to be what it is. You'll be nailed for not having the proper number or uniforms.
I forgot my Kiss My End Zone blue shirt yesterday. I'm like, shit. Luckily, Alexi had extras. So, captains, be prepared, be responsible for bringing extra white, blue, black jerseys, whatever jersey color your team wears.
Yeah, it didn't help you much in your choke job, losing up by 9.5 and lose by 4. Anyway, we'll talk about that in that division. We'll get the co-ed one later on.
What about the topic du jour, Mokan? It's Thursday night. There were thunderstorm warnings. I don't see thunder and lightning in the forecast anymore, but I'm seeing heavy rain. So what's the protocol here since we have outdoor games in the spring summer season? It's inevitably going to happen. It seems like it's going to happen here tonight. What exactly happens, and what's that breakdown look like?
Bring your jacket and boots. That's what it is right now. That's our saying. You're going to play football. No, okay. So here's the thing. Okay. If again, we're recording the show during the rainstorm, but if it does rain and there's thunder and lightning, the referees, if they see it, visually speaking here, they will stop the game at that moment and wait for the recurrence of thunder or lightning to be seen again. If it happens quite often, I think within 30 seconds of each other.
Within 30 seconds of each
other. In a small window, then the game would be rescheduled to another date. We hope not. Now, as for heavy rains, again, we do play through rain. We've had some rain, and we've gone through some pissing rains in years past. But if it is super heavy where you cannot see the field of play and it's impacting the judgment of players, referees, and our scorekeepers,
dangerous, yeah,
injuries included as well, the referees will put a stop to the game. And
temporarily,
again, gauge it.
Temporarily, yeah.
Yeah, temporarily. To gauge it if it can be resumed. If not, if they reach a certain point in the force majeure that it cannot be continued on, then that game would be rescheduled. So again, it's by year pretty much. We hope that it'll be minimal wet weather. Keep your cell phones in your car so it doesn't get impacted by the wet weather. But we also recommend that, hey, guys, look at the Instagram page, all that stuff in general, not for time, but in general, if there is weather situations, whether it's rain, snow, or lightning, whatever it is, that can impact games down the road.
Yeah, pretty much. You gave the rundown of it in the highlights of it, but we do have specific rules in place. You can check that out in the resources documents in the English or French rulebook, page 5, and the end of page 4 and the beginning of page 5 for your references. So go ahead and read that if you do have outdoor games. Feel free to email, but go ahead and read the rules document and then email us if you have any further questions.
Okay, let's dive into IGS. Let's get into Division A and 5 versus 5. I know you laid out some seeds for questions today, IGS, with what we're doing here. I actually readjusted one of the questions that you had on Diamond Bougie.
I saw that.
Are they a better 5-on-5 team or 6-on-6 team, and where do they rank in the division of 5 versus 5?
So let me. I'll answer the first question. Diamond Bougie 6-on-6, 2-time finalists, right? Fall Cup 2022 and Winter Season 2023 for Division 4 in the winter and Tier 3 in the fall of 2022. That's as far as they've gone. They haven't won a division yet. 2-time finalists is still impressive in its own right. But since then, they haven't made it past, I want to say, the second round of the playoffs. Great squad. They have the potential to be, champions anytime they suit up in 6-on-6, but they haven't. That's the fact is they have not won a championship. And 5-on-5, the sample size is small, 4 games, but they're going against the heavy hitters of FPF. We're not talking Division 4. We're talking Braves, Royaume Luminaire, Flagmo Alsac, Party Crashers, Jamesons, KGP. And they're 3-1 so far. I think that the 5-on-5 game suits them better than the 6-on-6. Jules, a cannon of an arm, suits him very well with the 5-on-5, 4 downs to have 4 downs to score model of 5-on-5. That combined with the athleticism that the team has, both offensively and defensively, I just think they check off so many boxes that makes them a true legitimate threat in 5-on-5.
So I agree with you. I think 5-on-5 suits their skill sets. They're not the biggest guys. They're more shifty, work better in smaller spaces. Funny enough, they're actually 3-0 in Brossard, 0-1 in Mary Vic in the 5-on-5 game so far this year for those who are looking at nerds numbers like that. But what makes them more spectacular is that in a smaller situation of a football-sized field, you see them benefit more, especially on defense. You look at a guy like Gab Charles Champagne, right? He's a force this year. I mean, anytime they've thrown towards him, you look at his numbers: 6 PDs, 4 INTs. Vero, you look at Jerome Hoventon, you look at the Manuel Arroy, guys that we know very well. These guys have all played very well in those situations. Watch that game against Jeff's team in Jameson's. It was over after the first 2 minutes of play. It was a first round knockout. They didn't catch up. They had a pick six here and there. They closed down gaps quickly. And again, their physical shape fits better in that situation of tighter quarters where you don't have to be fast. You got to be quick, and that's what they have. And I think now, as you said for the question, where do they rank in the 5 versus 5, Iggy? I really think that we're almost at the halfway point. I still think that Flag Mustache trying to figure themselves out. William Lunaire still trying to experiment with what they do well. Braves know how to play 5-on-5 because they do it internationally speaking here when they go to tournaments in the U.S. and across Canada. Party Crashers, I think, will figure it out. Jamesons have had difficulty, as has KGP, because they're not used to playing 5-on-5. I think they are probably at minimum your third best team with a chance to move up to number 2. They won't jump Braves, but I think their high ceiling is 2, minimum 3.
I mean, it's still really good. I mean, again, given the list of teams that you've rattled off, like to be a top 2, 3, seed or power ranked team in competitive 5-on-5 is a big shout out to the team, because they were a bit of a question mark coming in, right? We weren't too sure how they were going to do. I thought maybe a 2-8, 3-7 record was going to be just enough. Already they're 3-1 after 4 games. I think already the season is a success for them.
Yeah, no question, it is a successful one for them. And look, however far they go in 5 versus 5, I think it's a great building block for them for the fall cup, if not winter season, if they come back now or next year. But yeah, I think they're a good team, and like I said before, they fit the profile of what you want from this type of context of a football size field out there. On the flip side, though, Royal Luminaire. So the old saying from Bill Parcells, a great NFL coach, Iggy, is that if you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have 1 quarterback. So in their new strategy that they have being employed, they got Dan Lazara and Jesse Dupree taking snaps at quarterback. Is this a good or bad thing for them, given that Jesse is the mainstay quarterback and Dan's now come in and has a couple highlights here and there?
I mean, a couple highlights and a couple wins. I mean, they were 0-2 when Jesse was the full-time quarterback, even though they were dropping back, Marc-Antoine Lapointe and Alexis Gaumont, AJ Gomes, Kwesi. They were always dropping someone back, maybe even 2 guys back. But this is different. This is literally the person taking snaps is either Dan Lazara and or Jesse Dupree. It seems like for the majority of the last game against KGP was Dan taking the snaps, but look, they're 2-0 with Dan taking more snaps than Jesse, and they're 0-2 with Jesse taking more snaps. So, I mean, I think it's a model that's working out for them. I don't know if Jesse's arm is hurting, so he asked Dan to sub in and play more snaps at quarterback. I don't know if it's hey, I'm not great at it right now, and I need Dan, can you come in and ride out some of the games, show me some plays of a 5-on-5 playbook? I'm not quite sure what it is, but whatever it is, it's working. They're 2-0 since it. A 42-26 over KGP and a 32-14 win over we just said we heralded them over Diamond Bougie, but their one loss was coming to Royaume Luminaire, and Dan Lazara, we know with that connection with AJ, is really hard to stop.
So I think my conspiracy theory is that during the Div 1 finals of the winter season in Mary Vic, which was Dan and I doing the broadcast, I made a comment when Jesse made a touchdown pass to AJ Gomez. Jesse and AJ are now the hottest new couple in FPF. And that irritated Dan Lazara. And here he is back in trying to steal back his love of his life on the football field in AJ Gomez to rekindle that kinship that they have. So, I look, I don't mind it. But it's bleeped up, like, at the end of the day, because, look, it might unlock AJ Gomez and he puts up numbers, great. But, like, at the end of the day, I mean, what if both show up? What if it's 5 plays left? Who's getting the call to do 5 plays left? You know,
right,
you know what I'm saying?
now,
Like, in this whole context, right?
Yeah,
Like,
I know, but right now, to me, it's Dan Lazara. Look
yeah,
at the
but
stats.
let's just say
Jesse, 3
Dan
TDs,
goes
3 INTs.
Yeah, but let's say Dan goes undefeated the rest of the way. Let's say Dan plays the rest of the way, right? And he goes undefeated. It's like Tom Brady, Drew Bledsoe, right? Jesse's your Drew Bledsoe, and Dan's your Tom Brady. You tell me he's going to become Tom Brady and now win 8 FPF championships in a row? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I just think
Good.
Look, I'm not saying there's any beef. There's no beef with Jesse and Dan. There's none, okay? But in this world of 5 versus 5, I think they're both excellent players. I think you're right that it's taking Jesse a little bit longer than normal to get used to playing 5-on-5. But for Dan, coming off a massive injury that he sustained last fall, I believe it was, right? The elbow or bicep injury that he suffered, unfortunately.
Bicep.
I mean, this is his first real reps of throwing footballs, again, in this type of geography of a smaller football field than the traditional 6-on-6. So, is Dan ready to assume the mantle and start playing on a weekly basis? I'm not sure. I think he's more ready to come maybe back in fall, if not for next winter. But, is he comfortable to play and throw maybe 30, 40 times? Because remember, that's the number he threw, but on average he's going with 25 passing attempts per game. You multiply that, prorate that, whatever it is. If you were to play whatever they have left, 6 more games, if he's throwing 30 passes, that's almost 180. Plus, I mean, that's a lot of passes for a guy who hasn't thrown much. So I would heat on caution, go load management with Dan Lazara as quarterback.
But that's what they're doing. He's thrown 30 passes in 2 games. So he's throwing like 15 times a game. That's not that much. That's not crazy. And he's putting up numbers. He's putting up better numbers than Jesse Dupree right now. 9 TDs, 3 INTs, completing 77% of his passes, 120 QBR, just under. You see, the first phone call of the night's coming in.
Perfect.
I'm gonna have to decline that. You might want to reach out to Manny Bezogias,
Mocon.
You might want to message them because he was trying to call me. Jesse Dupree, 3 touchdowns, 3 INTs, 375 yards in the 3 games, completing 58% of his passes. That's very uncharacteristic of him. And with a 78 QBR, right? So, I mean, it's working. I like it. I'm here for it. I want to see it, how it evolves. Will Jesse Dupree eventually get the majority of the reps? Time will tell. It's going to be
Dan will be at AJ's wedding in mid-July, right? Towards the end of the season. So they're going to miss at least a week, if not more. And who knows if AJ's taking his honeymoon. I don't know if he is or not, but if he is, so AJ's going to miss a duration of time, if that's the case to be, right, with his wedding coming up next month. Speaking of missing of action, KGP, are they in trouble? Because it feels like that they're just getting outclassed at times here during the regular season. So far this year, Eggs are 0-4. A lot of their games have been pretty much no like the speeding of the 2-minute clock in the second half of matchups here. So where do we stand right now with their 6 games left? Could they make a run, or are they in serious trouble? Oh, well, Iggy, we just lost you. We'll get you back in 2 seconds here, Iggy. So as we get Iggy back. As we get Iggy back in the situation here, so my view on KGP is that I think the same thing with where they are right now in terms of how they are as a unit. So what I think for them right now is that they have taken some time to adjust themselves playing in a 5 versus 5 format, which isn't easy to do. And I think in the situation that they're in right now, a guy like Matt Lepage, Will Sabag, Dylan Garber, all excellent 6-on-6 players. Julien Paymal, also a great 6-on-6 player. They're trying to get used to this whole notion. And remember, they've had a rotation of quarterbacks too, where you had Phil throw, you had Will Sabag throw, you had Joy Taylor throw once. And that's the thing you have to look at is the quarterback play. As Iggy rejoins us now here, I was just saying that this team, they've had multiple quarterbacks. They've had pretty much the speed clock of the final 2 minutes happening because they've not been within range of any scoreline so far. I just think that it's taken them time getting used to playing 5-on-5. They did play it, I think, at some U.S. tournament last year, 2 years ago, but it's a different feel for it. And I think for them, I don't think they found the right recipe yet to master the final dish that they want to present for 5 versus 5.
Yeah, I think they went this past January, actually. So I mean, and I believe it was their first crack at 5-on-5. I don't know. I don't know what's wrong. You've seen them more than I have. Phil Cutler, 6 TDs, 6 INTs. I mean, I know the 5-on-5 game is gonna make stats look different. I think the interception rate is gonna go up. That's fine, and it's not because you're throwing a fourth down INT when you're 4th and 20 because you're 20 yards away from midfield or from the touchdown. You're pretty much throwing a lot of Hail Marys on 4th down. Okay, half of them might go for interceptions, a third might go for PDs, and then 20% might go for touchdowns. So the INT TD ratios, you have to take that into account and not really look at it the same way, 5-on-5, 6-on-6. But 1-to-1 is not going to win you many games. It's not performing at that well of a level, at least the Phil Cutler level. Only Matt Lepage with 100 yards. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know what's missing. Usually, Dylan Garber's...
I think what's missing is just having the right field to play this type of game. I don't think they're used to playing with the geometry on the football field, how it is. And, Phil's a big game thrower, right? He loves the deep ball. And guess what? The width of the field is now narrowed, where you don't have the same runway to where Kwesi Gordon-Mall or Matt Lepage or Dylan Garb or whoever's catching the deep ball in general has the ability to adjust to it, because that's what Phil does. He loves throwing those deep balls high up in the air and allowing his receiver to track it at the conclusion of the pass. So now it's sort of that tighter window. It's not making a pass, making that throw. Can he make those throws in a much smaller window, narrow window than what it was before? And if he can figure that out, I think they'll be fine. Garfinkel's a good player. Parham, these are all guys they're comfortable with. But I just think it's taking some time to get used to playing there. As for the 6 games they have left, Iggs, I'm not sure where their first one might come. Maybe against Party Crashers, but that's only in early July, and we're only in early June.
If we're looking at their first win being Party Crashers, they're not making the playoffs. That first win has to come next week against Diamond Bougie, just so that stress of not making playoffs isn't all the way down in week number 9, right?
Right.
I don't know. I obviously the first go around Diamond Bougie KGP wasn't Phil Cutler at the helm. It was Joey Taylor, and I think in a similar vein though, this may be why Phil Cutler's struggling, is that his offense is based and this is going to be the toughest transition for a lot of quarterbacks, and why there's some reservation on the league from even moving to 5-on-5, but that's where the trend is going, is that a lot of quarterbacks' offense is based on 10 yards for a first down. And so the transition is not as easy as you're seeing with Jeff Rosenblatts and the Phil Cutlers of the world, where the playbook has to adapt. You cannot run the exact same playbook. You can use some of the same plays, but you can't run some of the same concepts. With that 6th receiver missing, it sometimes breaks the concept of plays, and it's showing with KGB's recent struggles here.
All right, on to Division A, Iggs. Spearhead, big statement for them. When you look at what they did, they smacked Mongoose 38-6 after losing to them by 20 points earlier this season. So in this context they're in for where they are right now in the season, does this turn around their luck, Iggs, and they become more of a player in Division A?
I mean, Spearhead was one of the top teams in my opinion. I still think they are, right? When you have a lineup as loaded as they have, especially now with James Drysdale back, playing back with all of his teams. I heard I didn't hear when Peasy said last week, is it because of vacation? So I just said yeah, and so James was like, I'm not on vacation. Apparently, that's not why I'm not playing. Apparently, had shin splints was the report. Maybe a potential hamstring injury as well. So some lingering injuries limiting James Drysdale, but has played this past week with Vulture, Spearhead, and the rest of his team. So he's back in the fold here, and that addition greatly helps what Spearhead was desperately missing. Look. Despite the 1-3 record, that's still a top team. That's still a team that can go head to head against the Braves, who they beat right in a semifinal matchup to go into the finals to face Kevin Wyatt last spring season. They got crushed by Mongoose in the first go around, and this rematch offered the same crushing in return. So that's what this team's capable of. It didn't seem like the chemistry was there and the morale was a bit low. But after a win like this, the spirits can transition and be very high and can stay very high. Don't be surprised if this team rattles off 6 wins in a row here to go maybe potentially 7-3.
Well, they got DA Braves coming up next week, and then afterwards, that's when they maybe can do it. Where they got KGP, your team, blessed and you're right. I think the next game's tough, but they can run off the next 5, which would get them maybe up to 6 wins. And if that's the case, they get 6 wins, then they'll probably be a 4 seed, 3 seed maybe if it breaks their way. I score kept their first game against Braves. I felt like you're right that they were still trying to find some sort of rapport and telepathy with the pass catching radius of their receivers compared to Jeff's throws. And I think now they have something in play. And you're right, if James Drysdale's healthy the rest of the way, this adds more dynamism to the roster. Anthony Brisebois, Sanders Armand, the Armada, Manuel Leroy, James O'Han. These are all dudes. Kenny Bai as well. I mean, Jeff's got options now.
Loaded.
Yeah, he's got loaded with options and an option now to kind of go with personnel if he wants, right, for certain situations out there. So if they do get the right personnel in place, then yeah, they're going to be tough to beat, Eggs. And if they do run the table, I mean, they can get to 6 wins. And you're right, maybe 7. If they get to 7, that might be enough to be the for sure the 3, maybe enough to get the 2 seed. So yeah, plenty of room to grow here. I think they're going to be okay. Mongoose, like I said before, they weren't going to go perfect. I don't think they were going to go undefeated, but I think it's a warning sign for them that they have to realize, Spearhead's not a lower end team. They're in that top 3 equation of conversation as being a championship team going towards the finals in August.
For sure. And just to wrap it up there, Naz Dillon had a great, fantastic game, 4 sacks against Nick Schaefer against Mongoose.
He's in Nick's head. He's been in Nick's head for a while in the last couple of years in other teams that he's played with, right? So
interesting. So there's a rivalry.
A guy that I've been promoting in the Division I world for many years, and the guy that you put on this thing here for his defensive play, Olivier Seri, breakout on the offensive side this year. I mean, touchdowns, he's up there. Yards, he's top 2 with about a little less than 275. The chances, Iggy, that he wins 2-way Player of the Year, and who could be the competition for him?
Yeah, like you said, he's more known for his defensive prowess on the football field. Not to say that his offensive skills were lacking. He's very athletic, decent hands, decent to good route running, I think. And now just the stats are coming along with it, right? Mongoose was missing that wide receiver 2 after Thomas Coutu as the team's leading receiver, and he's fit the bill perfectly, right? They've had guys come and go, Marvin Steinberg, James Drysdale, and Oliver Suri's proving to be a great wide receiver 2 option for the team, and he's almost looking like the wide receiver 1 out there, like you said. 17 receptions puts him in 5th. The yards, he's second with 272, just behind Andrew Grant by a single yard, and he's tied for first in touchdowns with 6. So, I mean, when you're looking at competition for two-way, I think you have Marvin Steinberg in the running there. With 2 interceptions, he's amongst one of the leaders. Just saw in the offensive stats, he's around top 5 as well. Charles Champagne, as you mentioned, watch out for him. Continuing with only 2 games with Wyeth's rejects. Let's see how he continues offensively, but defensively already has 2 interceptions in 2 games. Andrew Grant is there as well. So 2 blessed players. Yeah, I mean, those are some of the guys that... I mean, you always have Joe Mayer as well. Don't forget the QBs in the two-way discussion. He's a great defensive player. Always one of the top defensive quarterbacks, of course. But many of the quarterbacks don't play defense. So Stephen Haraprasad, Nick Schaefer, myself, Jeff Rosenblatt. Joe Mayer is always in the discussion for two-way as well.
Yeah, look, I agree with you. I think Sahi is... I love him. He's like a badger out there. Not a honey badger. He's like a badger out there. He's like a mongoose badger.
Mongoose honey badger.
Yeah.
I think you've referred to him as the honey badger before.
I have.
I
probably have.
You've referred to someone as the honey badger before.
Yeah. Jacob Burnett.
I don't know who that is.
Yeah, he played years ago. But he's phenomenal, man. He should be in a Div 1 roster. He's going to stick with his boys. There's no question about that. But if he wasn't playing Div 1, he should be in a Div 1 roster. But I think he's definitely your early candidate to win this award. And if he holds on to it, he gets on to some radars now, moving towards maybe not the Fall Cup, but for into 2025. So I think he definitely is on that candidacy list for sure. All right, this has been a fun division to cover. Division D. Saw a lot of Div D action this week, Iggs. And got to see Jagger Bombers play for the first time, and they pulled out the win. Or they pulled out a unique situation, because what happened was they were in a dogfight playing Cookie Monsters on Tuesday, where they were up, and then Cookie Monsters almost pulled off the miraculous tie to force overtime, couldn't finish it off at the end. So Jagger Bombers are 4-1. I've seen Old Pats
Jagger
play.
Bombers. Jagger Bombers.
Yeah, Jagger Bombers. They're 4-1. I've seen Old Pats play, and I believe they're also 4-1. I think they're 4-1. Are they 4-1? Yes, they're 4-1. Are you more into Jagger Bombers or Old Pats? Bombers lost it to our boys, Snowden Deegans, and OP lost to V-Town this season as their 1 losses.
I like the better and more experience in Jagger Bombers. Old Pats are, in my opinion, lacking a bit more experience over Jagger Bombers and I'd say speed. Both quarterbacks are mobile. Both can throw short, intermediate, deep. I think just Jagger Bombers have been... no, I wouldn't say they've been playing longer together. Old Pats and that sort of franchise of players have played enough games together. I just go with athletic ability, height, range, size, speed. They're just a bit more versatile and diverse than what the Old Pats present, in my opinion. So I'd go Jagger Bombers.
Yeah, I think the Pats lack a little bit of offensive edge. This is a team that I believe has scored only 30 points once. The rest have been less than 30 points. They've been some close games too, right? They beat Bands by a touchdown. They beat Studs by 16. They beat the Process by a single point, which I score cap about 9 days ago. So they've run off some games where they've won 3 in the last 6-7 days. They do get Lemmy Sexy come out, which we'll talk about afterwards. But I just think that maybe their record is a bit inflated because, again, they just don't have the same edge on offense compared to their defense. Their defense is pretty good overall. Now, Jagger Bombers, I'm intrigued by because, they got our boy, the Brazilian Mapanguara, Alex Bacalani on this roster. And you can see he's just different talent level compared to others on this roster. But, they're not in an easy division themselves, right? Black Shinobi's a pretty tough team in that roster. You got Benny's team as well. But they too, right? They had a tough game against Deegan's 2 weeks ago or 10 days ago, whatever it was. They barely beat the Ballhawks. They barely beat Brewers. They barely beat the Studs. And they had a close one against Cookie Monster. So really, I want to see the next sample size of maybe 3 more games because you can ambush, bend don't break in the process. In that 1, 2, 3 process, bend don't break then ambush in that order. Then I think we'll know by week 9 if they're a legitimate threat to win Division D or not.
Yeah, I mean, and I go with Jagger Bombers, but it's close. Like I'm not throwing shade on old Pats. Like I think the edge is razor thin when you're comparing these two teams. Right. I'm just giving a bit of the edge just for more games under their belt for Jagger Bombers, and I think higher elite level talent, like you said, in Alex Bacalani. He's a difference maker on offense, and just that's reasons why you go with Jagger Bombers over Old Pats.
Okay, love me sexy, or as you say, let me sex.
I never said that.
They are a team that is antiquated on offense right now. They're 3-1.
So old?
They had a bad loss on Wednesday against Pack-a-Punch, which they lost in overtime 7-6, a high-scoring game between the two teams.
It was overtime on top of it?
Yeah, trust me. I was like, oh, my goodness. Anyway, so the question I'm going to ask you is, this team, do they have a quarterback issue or an offensive schematic issue right now? Because they can't score points.
Yeah, that's an interesting question. My gut feeling says it's not a QB issue. I think Nick Gropini has like a good understanding of plays and whatnot. Obviously lacking the reps, but that's what the season is for. Hey, he's gaining those reps now. Okay, 6 points in their past week. Yeah, that's not great offensively, but he put up 26, 18 in his previous 2 games. For your first time at quarterback, for you to get 4 and 3 TDs, that's not bad. So, I mean, it's going to be tougher, right? Starting your quarterback career in Division D and not necessarily in the lowest division. So, I'm not too worried. I think it's just more of the receivers getting comfortable with Gropini under center. I think, I mean, all that said, despite us putting up 6 points and whatnot, they're 3-1 to start the season. So the growing pains are going to be there. We're seeing a bit of that reflection now, but they're 3-1, so they're still getting results out there. Even though one of them is a forfeit, they're getting results. So I think you can take the growing pains. You can take the development of Gropini at QB, as long as you're getting the wins too. So I'm not too worried. If we're in the same position, asking the same questions here by week 9 and week 10, then we have a problem.
So Gropini reminds me, he's like a hybrid Trey Lance, Mac Jones quarterback.
2 very different quarterbacks.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because Trey Lance has not played football since like grade 6 as a quarterback, right? And Gropini's not a quarterback by nature.
By trade, yeah.
But then when he does throw, he's throwing like balls into the rafters of Benoit, as he did a couple of times on Tuesday.
His arms too strong. Did you see the muscles in the picture?
He looks like Brady Quinn, man. If we could zoom up on his biceps, man. Listen, man. The White Tiger spends time in the gym, man. Look at that. Look at the definition of the triceps, man. Guys will die to have like
triceps.
Like Barazoni, our boy Alessandro Barazoni, who, if you can get it up there, Iggy, I told our Barazoni, I said, Barry, you look like Mika Zibanejad of the New York Rangers with your style of hair flow and stuff. But
it's true.
But back to Gropini, I just think that you're right. He needs reps. He needs time. Division D is a big step up because, again, considering what the cap is of who they have in the roster, Ralph Morelli, Gomez as well, and Barra included. It's not, if it was in Div E, okay, cool, no problems. Developmentally, you can figure it out. But he's got to simplify his offense. Like he's got to take what's given to him. And there's times where he didn't take what's given to him. There was a lot of crosses that Pack-a-Punch gave up, and we're egging them on. And rather than take the short, maybe 3-4 yard gain, he would try to go for like the 10-yard gain or the 12-yard passing attempt. And maybe it was in traffic. It wasn't the right thing to do. But again, an Old Pats team coming up here on Sunday, which is good. They're a good defensive team, hard nosed. They'll play to the ball type of thing here. And this won't be an easy game for him. And I think for the White Tiger, he's going to come up with some Tigers-like plays to keep his team or keep the opponents on their toes going towards what will be a real referendum, I think, this game against Old Paston, Glow Gang, and then B-Town, the next 3 matchups.
Yeah, I think they'll be very competitive in the next game against Old Pats. I think Raf Morelli's going to keep them in that game defensively as a rusher because Old Pats with Simon Girard as a quarterback. If it's Simon Girard, he's going to try and run every third, fourth play, and he's not going to get past Raf Morelli. He's going to put them in third and fourth and long situations. And if it's Fabrice Tremblay, he doesn't have the artillery and the necessarily the arm strength and the necessity to go up against a love me sexy defense. So the game is going to be, I'd say fairly low scoring. I could see like a 19-18 type of game, but definitely one that Gropini is going to be able to work around his kinks and look to improve. And again, they could end up 4-1 after the game.
Maybe he can spend some more time in the gym working his biceps.
Perhaps.
Maybe. All right. Bigger game this weekend, Monday. Melons or Glow Gang. Melons right now, they are sitting comfortably at the top of the division. They're 4-0. Glow Gang, they're in a fight with Love Me Sexy and Notorious CIG. They're 2-1, so they have some games to be played here. But whose is this for in terms of the bigger game aspect? Glow Gang or Melons?
Interesting. I'm looking at Glow Gang's record 2-1 versus you mentioned Melons at 4-0. I think naturally you would be inclined to say Glow Gang. I want to go Melons here. I want Manny Bezogias, great steady progression and trending upwards at the quarterback position. Against Large Lifestyle this past week, Rochelle was scorekeeping that game. She's like, you can clearly tell one team is organized, know exactly what they're doing, very precise, very effective, and the decision making is spot on. Whereas another team was disorganized and just not inept or looking inept out on the football field. So very, two different styles that were clashing on the football field. So the reason I say Manny Bezogias and Melons for this question is because Glow Gang's defense is very good. So let's see him take that next step. He's, beating up, quote unquote, beating up on lesser teams than his. Let's see how they match in a tight, close game, right? How is he going to handle the stress of a last minute drive with 5 plays starting on your own 10 type of situation? So I'm going to go with Melons. They've, great stuff so far. Perfect season. Can they go 5-0 and continue that run for a 10-0 season?
Well, Manny knows how I feel about him. I think he could bench press 225 like 10 times. He's got the inflated chest, but he inflates or he deflates in the key moments. I know the finals last winter were tough because he lost Leo DeMacos early and they didn't get going here, but he's got to win the big one. I think it's a bigger game for Glow Gang because you look at the schedule. Got Love Me Sexy coming up, which is a chase for first place, right? You beat Melons, you're in play for the number 1 spot in your division, and then you got Ambush and Hale Marty's. So that next 4 games that they have coming up here, including the one against Melons on Monday, which is Mary Vic, could really shape up if they're going to be in that discussion of, hey, we're going to say, yes, they're in that championship conversation because they took out Love Me Sexy. They took out an undefeated Melons. They took out an Ambush team in the Hale Marty's roster. So I think that this is a big game for them. I think Melons has a little bit of runway to work with because, again, they are 4-0. They're 2 games up on the next team in their division. But in the more micro aspect of it, though, for Manny Bezogias as a quarterback, I mean, his favorite team is the Dallas Cowboys. He's sort of like Dak Prescott. He'll put up numbers, but when it comes to the big games, he no-shows as he has in years past.
I hope they don't no show and forfeit. That would be bad because they're often like 6 people with no subs.
I know it's
So
terrible. It's tough.
I hope it's a no show.
It's tough. All right, here's a showdown here. No show for this one, but it's a big showdown here in women's. Women's B, Supernova Red Nation. That's the big one coming up for the women's division this week for week 5. Loser of this game between Nova and Nation. Are their chances for first place all but done?
I'm gonna say no because yes, your number seed right now is Wolfpack, but have Supernova played Wolfpack? Have Red Nation played Wolfpack? If you quickly take a look at the Supernova schedule, they have not. They beat they're 3-0, beat Ibu, A-Town, and Wildcats. And when you look at Red Nation's schedule with their record sitting at 2-1, they beat Le Petit Miette, lost to Wolfpack. So already there, your answers would be that the loss would be more heartbreaking for Red Nation and all but lose out on a chance at the first seed. It's more likely Red Nation.
Yeah, so I think it's big. It's bigger for Red Nation because if they're right now unofficially 2 games back of Wolfpack because of the loss and the 1 loss. So they have 1 loss plus the tiebreak in favor of Wolfpack. If Red Nation were to lose, I think they can kiss goodbye the number 1 seed because you would have to make up essentially 3 games, 2 plus the tiebreaker with 6 games to go. So I don't know where Wolfpack would lose at that point. Now, I've seen Supernova play a couple of times now. Their schedule's been weak in a sense of who they faced. Again, look, they rampaged right through the Wildcats, which wasn't even close. And I feel for the Wildcats because they had to score a point in this league. A-Town, not so great. And they beat Hibu. So the common opponent between Nation and Nova is Hibu. They beat them by 24. Now, the question I have for Red Nation is playing Alison Sobel's had a good season so far, but this is a pretty good defense here. Leanne Vincent has had she's one of the better cover corners in this league, a sure-handed tackler out there. Davio's been very good this year. They've been very good attacking the football over the middle. So how does Alison Sobel, go about with her offense, right? And she loves using those corner routes with Gigi Kabila-Bonte being one of her key figures there. It's going to be a fascinating chess match with these two schemes: the offense for Red Nation and the defense for Supernova. And if Sobel does throw an INT, that could be the difference in why they lose than win that football game.
10-12. So the Supernova defense, granted, like you said, they've, I wouldn't say taken advantage of a weaker schedule, but they've done what they've had to do, but especially on the defensive side of the ball, right?
Yeah.
12 interceptions in 3 games. And you've seen it up close. I've seen it from afar. You've seen it up close. The girls on their team are very good.
They're very good.
Especially defensively, right? Those 12 interceptions are not just badly thrown balls. Maybe some of them are, but some of them are great plays from the defense, including names like Audrey Lajoie, who is an absolute stud. We talked about her last week in Co-Ed 1. She's an absolute stud, of course, in Women's B as well. I think, Red Nation, we know their strength is defense. I think they're going to have a tough time stopping this Supernova offense too, right? You have 4 receivers at 100 or more yards. Those same 4 receivers, Camille Bergeron, Dali Corbeil, Rosalie Quentin, and Chloe Corbeil, all have 3 or more touchdowns as well. So the depth and breadth of this team is showing across the board. And when Audrey Lajoie, just 2 receptions, 7 yards, and a touchdown, and when a stud on offense like that is not even the mainstay part of this offense, that's really dangerous. Florence Bro, the quarterback for Supernova, has been lights out so far. 17 TDs, 2 INTs. I think she can continue rolling that flow. Even though Red Nation could get a stop or 2, an interception or 2, I could see Florence Bro scoring 4 or 5 TDs to 2 INTs type of game. That means can Alison Sobel score 5 or 6 touchdowns?
Well, hold on. I mean, she's got some horsepower on her roster. I mean, Emma Townsend, Aston Lance had a great.
Yep.
She's had a really good co-ed season with Benny McMahon's team, and has had a good start to Red Nation. Kia Allen Beckles, who they've had on and off, now part of the team, has been wonderful for them. And, you're right. Like, maybe they might not score 40 points. Maybe that's not their DNA. And, so far this year, they score on a high of 31 against Hibu. Besides that, they scored 20 against Le Petit Millet and 12 against Wolfpack. So, 6 against Wolfpack. So, maybe it isn't going to be their offense that wins them, though. But then you look at their defense, where they do have maybe an advantage is that their coverage has been up there this year. Naomi Alma, who I mentioned to you way back in week 1, I think is probably the best athlete on defense for coverage. She's a good cover corner. So maybe you have her line up against their best pass catcher. And then you look at Kia. She can cover a lot of blades of turf out there. Gigi Kabila Bonte. I mean, they have players that can make plays. But now, in this situation now, if, again, as I said before, if Red Nation were to lose, then first place is out. Then they're chasing number 2, and that might be tough. But if Red Nation do get this game, then they are now in pole position for 2, if not 1. And no, that means I'm not wearing a Red Nation shirt. It's a Dino's football shirt because it is looking like I'm wearing the Red Nation t-shirt, which is not the case. But this is going to be fun to watch. I really think it's going to come down to the final 2 minutes of this matchup. And whoever's playing clean football will win this football game. There's a little something, the red. Lemmy's going to say, hey, you're wearing my Red Nation shirt,
That's why I put it on screen here.
There's some similar looks to it, though. Anyway.
I thought, from afar, looking at it super, not nonchalantly, it looks like a crab's claw. I thought it was a crab's claw, and then I saw the and
no, is it supposed to honor themselves being vanity players or something? Because they're all except for Gigi. Symbol? Gigi's not a vanity. She's a Momo girl. I think most of them are from Vanier.
Okay.
And Vanier's colors are red and gold.
Where's the gold?
I don't know. We'll have to ask Lemise for that one.
All right.
Wolfpack.
It's gonna be a very close game. It might, like you said, it's gonna come down to the last possession. So it's a coin flip for me.
I hope so. Wolfpack, are they the best team in Women's B? They have taken out 2 winless teams so far. Not really the murderer's row of teams that they've gone through so far this year, Iggy. But are we putting them in that conversation where they beat Red Nation by 6? But again, same thing. They have a really good defense and they have a really good quarterback in Camille Dumas, who's played very well this season. And no fault to her or the team because of the schedule that they've been presented so far. But are they a legitimate number 1 team right now in Women's B?
I'm gonna say yes. Legitimate number 1. You've already taken out Red Nation. Mind you, 12-6, close game. I'll say for now, yes, but I'm not 100% convinced that they're absolutely, without a doubt, the team to beat. I think Red Nation, it can still give them a run for their money. Have them, let's return and circle back here when Wolfpack play Red Nation again on July 2nd. Let's see how that goes. If it's another 12-6 game, even if they win, I'm still not going to be 100% convinced. Beat them 31-6. Beat them 40-0. Give me a very convincing win, second win against Red Nation, and then I can claim you as the team to beat. I also want to see them play face off against Supernova. I think right now those are your 3 best teams: Red Nation, Wolfpack, Supernova. Not necessarily in that order. So can they be the team to beat? They could be, but prove it to me. Show it with convincing wins against Red Nation and Supernova later on the schedule.
Okay, so they are. This might be first. We have to look it up, and I apologize for not looking it up beforehand. But Maria Paradis is on her way to 1,000 yards receiving. She might obliterate the all-time receiving record in not women's, but male or female, adult league or women's league. Right now, at the clip she's going at 4 games, she's at 503, I think.
508.
So you prorate that, Iggs. She might, if she hits 1,000 by game number 8, plus 2 more to go,
1270.
She might get 1,400 yards by the end of it.
1270 is the ratio.
she might put a serious assault to it
And,
if she
and
keeps
12,
up. Now again,
yeah.
the first 4 games were not she wasn't going against the Pittsburgh Steelers defense of the 70s here. This wasn't the case, but now we'll see, right? They get Le Petit Miette. You mentioned in Red Nation at the early part of July. They get Supernova at the middle part of July, which might be big for a number 1 seed. As I said before, they have a really good offense to work with. Their defense has been sneaky good. Therese Nguyen, the captain of this team, has been playing well. They're positionally sound on the football field. They really crash. What they do so well, Iggy, against the first 4 opponents, that they bait them. So they kind of put like a shell where like, hey, we're not giving you the sidelines, go over the middle. Oh, cool. We're going to now converge on you quick enough because we have that speed to make up the distance there and make a stop. So I think they have good players to work with, but I want to see how the second half schedule goes. I think they're flawed. I think they will lose a game or 2, but maybe not enough to drop to number 3. I think they'll be somewhere in the top 2, but if they really have that utter collapse, then who knows at that point. But I think they'll be a top 2 seed by the time we hit mid-July for playoffs.
Yeah, going to be interesting to see for sure.
All right, women's 1. Cayenne, they play Matrix on the weekend. Same thing for women's A. Does a loser of this game lose a grip or kiss themselves goodbye that they will not get a chance at the number 1 seed?
Yeah, we talked about this last week. I'm pretty convinced that Sub-Zero's, already your number 1 seed and will be for the rest of the season. So I think really your question should be, will a loss, lose you out for the 2nd seed? Because a loss against either team that loses will now you're half a game back.
And then most of the elimination status too, right? Double elimination.
Right, exactly. So that's what you're fighting for that 2nd seed. Obviously, Matrix Cayenne, they're going to be playing each other more than once. Let's just see how many times exactly they're going to be playing. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 4 matchups between these 2 teams. So actually, a loss this coming Sunday actually doesn't mean much. It's when you lose to the 2nd game, July 4th. That's going to be whoever loses. If a team loses 2 in a row, then that's going to be a lot more heartbreaking than losing necessarily this next game.
Right. So my feeling is that I saw Cayenne play earlier this season. They had a close one against
Sub-Zero,
which they lost at the death. Last play, touchdown grab by Emma Racine. Racine on the play, and then they played Sub-Zero tough, and that might be. I think in once the dust settles, they will be your 2 seed. I think they
so
match
as
up well with Sub-Zero. They know them well. These are teams that play against each other at the highest level of women's flag football, and they know each other well enough. I think Cayenne will give them a good run. I think the Matrix will be a thorn in the side of both these teams. Not enough to kind of change shift the diagram of where we are right now of who's going to be 1, 2, 3, and 4. But yeah, it's 4 games left between the 2 of them. It might be point differential for tiebreak. Who knows what, right? But at the end of the day, if you win 2, if not 3, you're going to get the number 2 seed. And the most important thing, double elimination status and the 1, 2, 3, 4 playoff format that we have going forward. So it'll be fun to see how this game plays out on the weekend, but it's a big one for sure for Women's A. So big news in Division B, Iggy. Gisli Alexi, primetime Alexi, your BFF in the co-ed world. Now the new quarterback for the infantry. I believe we have a clip for this game, do we not?
Yeah, I think Omar. Don't just wait before.
There we go.
Here, but
here's the clip coming up here of the game.
We're just gonna wait. We're just gonna
on
wait.
Tuesday night.
Yeah.
Heavenly Buys against Infantry, which the Buys won on the last play of the game on the slant.
Heavenly Bodies? What did you say?
Heavenly Sun. Sorry. Think of the old wrestling team.
Heavenly Bodies.
Think of the old wrestling tag team there, my friend. Sorry about that. Okay, so Heavenly Suns. Benny McMahon, quarterback, throwing a slant into Anthony Drysdale for the game-winning touchdown over Infantry. So the big story is that, of course, for Infantry, primetime Alexis now.
We didn't show the clip yet.
Oh, did we not show the clip yet? Oh, waiting for the clip.
No. I said wait. We're gonna build up to it. So you got a first-hand witness of Jeansley playing quarterback for the infantry in a back and forth game against Heavenly Sons. Break us down the game a little bit. In the end, it came down to the final play, which we'll see the clip of here shortly.
I don't remember much of this game. It was a blur for me. No, I'm kidding. I was kidding. Okay, so I don't think Jeansley Lexley is healthy. I don't think he is healthy. He's playing on one leg, and something happened. Like he got hurt somewhere along the way, and he's not healthy. And he still put up numbers.
So the thing there was last Wednesday, playing after the Kiss My End Zone versus IG team, he suited up for Party Crashers playing against. It was 5-on-5? No, it was Div A. So playing against Spearhead. And there was a collision near the goal line where he got kind of rocked in the head a little bit. So he was taken off the field, walked off on his own accord. But yes, that's where I believe the nature of the injury was sustained. But you're right. He looked like he was limping out there. So maybe he also took a shot to the leg, and that maybe it's from somewhere else. But anyways, all to say that that the game was close. He was limping a bit. I think Heavenly Sons had a 2-score lead, something like 27-7.
They did
type of lead, and they
27 lead. Yes.
Yeah, and
they won the last play. Benny McMahon coming up with Benny Magic on the touchdown grab to Anthony Drysdale. I thought both quarterbacks played well. I thought Jeansley adapted fairly well. I mean, he's got to figure out how to get Rory Submergent and Michael Kazaka more involved. He felt comfortable with Marc-Andre Lapointe, Nick Damalo, most of Lapointe on the big plays here. I think he brings a different element of offense here, of course, for what they want. Zach Stacy, of course, banged up as we speak. But, he's going to be okay as a quarterback, and he'll bring the running element to it. But I think for Heavenly Sons, what I want to see is they spread the ball well, but your best player, your best offensive threat is Owen Bodrowski. He's the best player on this roster from an offensive player. He's most gifted. And, you have James Drysdale as well, but they combined for 3 catches for 28 yards. I mean, those are two excellent players, and they only have 28 yards on 3 catches.
Yeah, so Omar, you can play the clip. So as we see here, that final play of the game here, you have Ben McMahon with an in-out from Anthony Drysdale for the win. So yes, Owen Bojarski is very athletic, great at football. He doesn't quite, get the flag game yet.
He's calling him out.
He has the potential to be great, but he doesn't play enough necessarily to get all the reps that he could be to reach his potential. I don't know how else to describe it. I'm not. You can tell he has a lot of talent, but he just hasn't played enough. That's all. And there's Mo Khan in.
In appearance. Look at that, eh?
You even said something. You even said something to me while.
Yeah, a little brief.
And you're brushing.
Walk by a little drive-by action right here.
There
you go.
You brush your hair there. You brush your. Of course,
I had to brush my hair, man, because everyone was making fun of me because I washed my hair Tuesday. So everyone was making fun of me because I gave my haircut Friday. So I washed my hair twice. So there you go, bam, right there. So I wash my hair tomorrow morning before I get my haircut on Friday. But you just had and people would understand this comment that I'm about to make towards you, Iggy. You had a look at me Louis comment right now, which is that you called out Owen as a football player.
No, I said he's a great football player. As a flag player, he has a lot of development to do.
Oh, you called him out.
He needs reps. That's all. He doesn't play enough.
You called him out. That's a look at me Louis moment there.
No, that's not how that works. You're misquoting and misusing that.
I think you
Peas
called them out.
Omar, clip this for Peas and send it over to Peas after.
It's a look at me, Louis moment comment by
Okay,
Iggy.
so Mokan, Owen Bujarski, over under 80 games played in FPF.
80, you said?
Yeah, 80 over under 80 and a
I
half.
think it's under.
Okay, so it's 88.
Oh,
Still,
okay.
I think you need at least 100 games before you get that. Oh, that I mean, he's at 88 because he's like 12 away. But there's like between that 100 to 150 games where like, but this is more true for quarterbacks of how to. But it's not just limited to quarterbacks, but it's more about like game management and when to go. Like, I'm telling you, like on a final play of the game, Owen is the type of player like Marvin Steinberg does so often, and it's infuriating that he would score a touchdown instead of going out at the 1 yard line when there's like 3 plays remaining and the team is up by 1 point. Like that's the type of thing that I'm talking about. Like he just needs more reps and just to get a better understanding of the game and game situations and the sizing of the field. That's all I'm saying. And I don't think it's controversial.
You called them out. Okay.
Okay.
Cool.
According to Mokan.
I'll make a quick stab before we get to the next point here. 1 touchdown for every 2 games.
Oh yeah, I know. He's an incredible talent. I'm not saying he isn't.
Yeah, it's a look at me Louis moment here by Iggy Magnets.
That is not how that works. Oh man, you are bad at this.
Beer Belly get their first win when?
I don't know. You tell me.
I know you heard the question, so I'm just asking the question that you asked.
There exactly. I wrote it. Look, they're 0-4. I mean, obviously they play Hateful Eight a little, but like way later into the season. Does it come against the infantry?
No.
Now with Jeans Lee at QB,
No.
I don't think so. Even with Zach Stacy, I didn't necessarily think that. I think infantry got better, honestly, with Jeans Lee added to the roster, not necessarily
and
just as quarterback.
Eventually get Sean Sturgeon on the roster down the road as well.
Right. I mean, are they going to fit with all those players on the team? Maybe not.
That's a them problem, not us problem.
Exactly. I would have a hard time thinking that they all fit on the roster with Jeans Lee. I'm speaking more on the defensive side of the cap. But anyways, so don't necessarily think they get a win against infantry. Silent Ticklers could be there. That could be the game they win, depending on whether the health of Mancini. Probably not going to be there. Depending on the health of Adam Rosen. He's been out week to week. Is June 18th in 12 days from now. 12? Yeah, 12 days from now. Is that enough time for Rosen to make a comeback for Silent Ticklers? If it's not, I think they could get a win there. If Rosen and maybe Mancini or they had Jordan Allard come in. So if both of those players are there, not sure they get the win. Is it then against Heavenly Suns where they played them tight, lost 37-34? Maybe it's there. Look,
all right, I'll make it easy for Iggy. They're not getting a win on the schedule unless it's Hateful Eight. They're
really?
not. They're not. They're not going to beat One Stop. One Stop's got is sound. They're not going to beat Heavenly Suns. They will not beat Silent Ticklers unless they come up with a relic of team here. And Kiss Miller has no way. So Hateful Eight would be the only win they get. That's it. And it sucks because they're a good team.
Yeah.
Beer Belly, Fafala's a good guy. They're a good roster. They have Clavo's a good player. Yeah. And Noel's a good player. They have good guys, but they've had some tough breaks. I mean, they lost by 3, as you said before. They lost by a touchdown to Bruins. They got ripped you guys ripped them, and they lost by 12 to East W's. Last 2 games, 2 best teams probably in that division, if not in that conversation. 3 best teams. So, no, they're not going to get a win until maybe Hateful Eight.
Interesting. I because of the first 2 games where they've kept them competitive against Bruins and Heavenly Suns, I think they can make some of these games like Silent Ticklers, Heavenly Suns competitive and can squeak out a win. Do they? I'm not sure.
I don't think so. I don't think they will. I don't think they will, and I don't see it happening. I don't see it happening at all. All right, early nominee for Defensive Player of the Year. Our boy Fitzgerald sent us Diamond Bougie. You look at his numbers so far this year. I mean, does he get it?
Bougie.
Sorry, what am I saying? Diamond Bougie here.
I don't know because I mean he did play with them in the past.
Easy W, I apologize. Easy W, my bad. I apologize for that. Does he get it? 4 INTs, 5 PDs.
I mean, he's the reigning Defensive Player of the Year in Div A, dating back to last spring. So I mean, already leading with 4 INTs. I think so. I think he's your leading candidate. That's for sure. I think he wins it. I think, going out on a limb, it's halfway through the season. I believe they have another game against Hateful Eight. So does that game get played though? Does it not? We'll see. I think it's this coming week, week 6, as enter week 6 in the FPF world. Even if that game isn't played, the way Easy W plays, and his athletic ability, especially downfield at tracking balls, and when he's on, he's on. He sometimes can get a bit lackadaisical out there, and instead of continuously backpedaling, he may jump a little early, and one of those PDs could have been an INT. But when he's locked in, there's not many. It's tough to throw over a guy like Fritz.
Yeah, he's very gifted. Kevin Wyeth loved playing with him in Division 1. I mean, this is like a Chico. If he gets 3 more INTs, he'll have it wrapped up at 7, I think. And I think he could be on his way to doing so. So, yeah, I think he is definitely in the clubhouse leaderboard as being the favorite to win this award. No question about that. Division C. Le Petit Carotte, Win Diesel. Who loses first in the win-loss column?
What did I say? Mo's NFL comp. Oh, yeah, you had it. I am not reading the script at all.
No, you're not. You're the one that posts these questions here.
You added something there. I'm like, I didn't write something about Mo in here. Yeah, I think the question's interesting because these are, like I spoke about with Peas last week, 2 up-and-coming teams from Div 5, Div D, coming into the fold here in Division C and going undefeated so far. I think I looked at it last week, and I think both schedules are rather weak, honestly, for Division C. If we take a look at Petit Carotte's schedule, they have Blue Dry, tough game, but I think they win it. They have backfield penetration. Okay, that's a tough game. I think they get a loss there. I think that's where they meet their match in terms of a tougher opponent. So I'm going with first loss June 16th for Petit Carotte. Since I'm on their page, I'll
Win Diesel, which I have their page up for you. Their first loss is going to come against Fins Up, June 16th. But technically speaking, they're getting to 10 a.m.
Yes.
10 a.m. in the morning. So that might be,
okay.
Technically speaking, they're the first team to lose.
Right, yeah. Yeah,
but Win Diesel has a tougher schedule because Warehouse should be a win. Warehouse is a complete mess. Fins Up is going to be very tough. Big Fat Bats will be tricky. West Island Boys will be very tricky. And Trap Stars, depending on who the roster is, won't be easy for them. They know each other very well, crossover with KGP and stuff. So, yeah, I think the quality wins for – hold on, let me take out the mic here. I think the quality wins here for Win Diesel would be much more prominent because of who they have on their schedule. And I just think that they're just more battle tested. Remember, they beat Commission by 1, and that was based off of, you ready for this here, Iggy? On why the Commission lost that game?
I know.
Because Brent Balkin was walking in late and didn't have enough players, so they were down 6-0. They beat a very tough Trinity team, which I score capped. And they beat Friends of Danny by 3. So they've been conditioned to play those tough games, and they've done well in those tough games. And I think that they're probably the better team right now. And I told this to Will Sabag, and I'll tell you this. My NFL comp as a quarterback for Will Sabag, you ready for this? Take one guess.
So it's the comp for the Will Sabag as a QB or Win Diesel as a team?
No, him as a quarterback.
No, I don't have a guess, actually. Go for it.
Jordan Love.
Okay, all right.
So it was a beautiful deep ball like Jordan Love. Commanded the offense. Has that edge to him like Jordan Love. He's got a rocket launcher of accuracy out there. He is the Jordan Love of FPF. Will Sabag.
Can scramble too.
Can scramble.
Yeah.
He will give you. He will talk junk to you and let you know what's up. He's got a young receiving core, Marcus Lynch out there, kind of like the Packers do. But he is Jordan Love out there.
I'll give it to you. That's all I'll say.
He puts a lot of love out there, like Jordan Love. So
okay.
he's Jordan Love, man. That's what he is. That's what he is. On the flip side of things.
By the way, rain update. Like very light rain. This was supposed to be like the thunderstorm of all thunderstorms. It's 6:47 p.m. right now. I think the hardest it's gonna hit is like from 7 to 9, but so far it's just like drizzling.
And okay, that's good for us. It's good for all of us.
Lightning. Yeah,
on the flip side, who gets their first win? Nighthawks or Team Ruthless?
Right, both winless right now in Division C. If I just had to go based off of what I've seen and the eye test, I would, and without looking at the schedule for now, I'd go Team Ruthless. Even though Nighthawks have scored 90 points to Team Ruthless's 69. Nice. But if you break down the schedule, Team Ruthless have West Island Boys next. Nope, that's a lot. Well, I don't know. Who's quarterback for West Island Boys now? Going to be Zach. So just to bring back a little callback from Division B, with Jeans the Alexi taking over Zach Stacy for the infantry, who seems to be out for the rest of the season. I'm assuming that means the same for West Island Boys. Or maybe Zach Stacy just wants to throw less and is only throwing for one team. So we're still not too sure, but it could be Nick DeMalo taking the reins for West Island Boys. Either way, I don't see Team Ruthless getting a win there. Not against Rico Riders. They do play each other, Nighthawks, Team Ruthless, June 23rd. So probably break the deadlock there. And so we probably just have to look at the Nighthawks schedule to see if they're going to get a win before June 23rd.
They're not a good team, man. They're not a good team.
They both play West Island Boys. So basically, Nighthawks or Team Ruthless, who wins that game? That'll be the first.
I think Team Ruthless does. I think Nighthawks have issues, man. They got blown out by backfield penetration. It was over in the first half of that game on Wednesday in Laval. Yeah. I just don't know if they have the right. Sorry, I beg your pardon. I don't think their personnel is in the right division.
Yeah, I'm not sure they played in Division D last year. If they fit the cap of Division D, they should have absolutely played in Division D. Look, if they didn't and they were up over the cap by like 4 or 5 points, remember, you can always submit a rating request. 4 or 5 points is like the limit and may get rejected. But either way, look, I'm going to say every team. Most teams, because Pritskara and Win Diesel are kind of outliers right now, but most teams making a jump into a new division, it's very tough, and you're going to struggle. And so kudos to them for making that jump. Right. And look, a 1-9, 2-8 record is not bad when you're a new team making a big jump into a new division. So right. If they can finish 1-9, 2-8, and yes, you're going to take your lumps, but you will learn from those lumps, and you take out of those games and you come away with experience. Look at Killer Rays. Yeah. What did they go? They went 2-8. maybe 3-7 last
Yeah.
fall, last spring. They struggled in Division C, but look where they are now. Which, by the way, they're like 0-3-1. But they've come a long way, right? They did very well. Always after a 2-8 kind of season where they struggled, they came back the next season with like an 8-2 record. So it's okay to struggle. As long as next year you come back and you learn from your mistakes, you can turn around your season.
Okay, start him, sit him, cut him. Big man edition. I don't know what that means. If you're saying that they're out of shape, these guys,
I don't
but they're
know.
not.
They're big guys.
I know. You said we'll do for offense and defense. We'll just do it as the player itself because they all bring different styles of play. So you got Jeff Delos, Gab Champagne, and Mav Marc-Antoine Bien. Start, sit, cut. Do I go first?
Yeah, go first.
I start Gab. I don't say much. Body work is self-explanatory. Okay,
Yeah.
Start. Potential Hall of Fame career if he keeps going. I would sit Mav. I think Mav still has gas in the tank. I still think he's efficient in what he does. Maybe not the same Mav of maybe 8-9 years ago. When he was playing with Fred Bien before your time, and I would cut JF Delos. I think and JF's a good player, but I think in this threesome that we have of players, I think Gab's 1, Mav 2, Delos 3.
So I think overall that's right, but that's why I'm interested in doing it as a offense perspective and then defensive perspective. So would you still have the same lineup? Looking at the offense?
Yeah, both. I would go both.
So you'd go offense and defense. You'd start Gab Champagne, sit Mav, and cut JF Delos.
Yep, 100%.
Because I think I would go, and I think it's the same for both actually. So yeah, I'll just do both offensive and defensive. I'm starting Gab Champagne. I'm sitting JF Delos. And I'm cutting Marc-Antoine Bien. JF Delos, very underrated, maybe in your books, not in mine anymore, but especially on the defensive side of the ball. This guy's a monster. I'd even put him on par, perhaps, with Gab Champagne. I may even start JF Delos on defense and sit Gab Champagne on defense and cut Mav. Offensively, though, I just Gab's new nickname in the FPF world is starting to be his nickname is starting to be MJ on the football field. He's, like you said, he could have a Hall of Fame career when all is said and done because he's of young age still. And then so offensively, I would definitely start him. Sit JF Delos because he's very versatile. Great snapper, great slot or wide receiver as well. And Mav, great snapper as well. But I think his prime is a little past him. And look, it's always a challenge doing the start him, sit him, cut him exercise here because all three players are great. But JF Delos, man, watch out. He could be a candidate for two-way player of the year, especially defensively. This guy's a monster.
All right, on to Coed 1, 2, and 3. So start off with Coed 1. Vultures, Plenty of Fish. They have the rubber match coming up. Well, not really a rubber match. It's game 2. It's back-to-back. So really, it's not a rubber match in your context here. Or is it? Yeah, it is. No, it isn't.
They played on Wednesday, and they're playing next week.
Yeah, but Iggy, a rubber match is when they split the first two games, and the third game is the rubber match.
Is that actually the definition of rubber match?
Yes. Look at me.
I didn't write rubber match though, did I? No, I meant
you
rematch.
I
meant rematch.
How will the rubber match of the Vultures versus POF go?
And then who will adapt better in their Week 5 rematch?
Yes.
Okay. Well, yeah. Now that you say it, it does make sense that the rubber match is like the third game after a
they split the first two. This is the rubber match over here. Okay,
fine. Rematch.
Sure.
You were scorekeeping the game.
I did.
How did that game go? Because it was a close game. I think, right? I mean, it was a 3-4 point game, but
scoreline was flattering towards Plenty of Fish. Vultures had a lead. I thought where Plenty of Fish lost this game was they used their timeouts on the final drive of Vulture's touchdown to put them up 34-26. It was I was a bit perplexed why they'd use both timeouts, not save one. And I think that cost them in the end because they didn't have enough time. Like, they ran out the plays essentially, right? They got the first down to cut it off. Benny McMahon was mature in the pocket. He almost had 40 passing attempts and used his weapons really well. Chippy Brown was really good. I mentioned Emma Townsend last night. She had some massive catches for this team. No answer for James Drysdale. Rocco Cristiano came a bit late, so that might have offset the whole start for Plenty of Fish. Mola Cass is really good. I'm not going to question her.
Yeah,
I think what it came down to was that crucial moments, Vultures adapted, and Plenty of Fish did not adapt. And now, Tomas Jose played, so does Theo come back in? I'm not sure. But I just think that Vultures were the better team. I think right now they're the better team. But in the rematch here, my question will be, can the POF minimize the big plays that Vultures might create in the return game next week?
Right. And I mean, when you have Rocco, Thomas Jose, Seth Galina, Rebecca Decari Corbeil, Maris Paquette, all of those can, or most of those can play the deep ball. So I mean, yeah, they're gonna definitely have to adapt to that, especially. I don't think many of the divisions or many of the teams in the division have a snapper that is versatile like Kevin Donnett, especially downfield, right? Ben loves hitting him downfield, and I saw one of the touchdowns was like very close to the sideline. You can tell the chemistry between those two is high, as high as any of the other snapper QB connections in the division. So yeah, they're definitely gonna have to adapt to that, but. Even if they do, there's so many weapons on that offense for the Vultures, like you mentioned, Chantel, Chippy Brown, seven receptions, 49 yards. Emma Townsend, Asselin, 6 receptions on 8 targets, 33 yards. And then we're just listing superstar female players with Gigi as well. Then you have James Drysdale and Kevin Donnett to deal with, and then Phil Roberts is a reliable pass catcher too. 3 receptions on 7 targets is not the best of ratios, but he can come away with key 7-8 yards on second down to make it third and short and manageable.
Right now in Coed 1, Iggs, a lot of returning teams. Best rivalry, and what is the next up-and-coming rivalry in at least Coed 1?
So I'll throw you the question for best rivalry because I'm somewhat involved, and then I'll answer the next up-and-coming rivalry.
So you want me to answer it?
Yes, answer.
Okay, I was waiting for you to ask me the question so I can answer.
No, so what is currently the best rivalry?
Oh, there's no question right now. The most sustainable rivalry has been IG team against your team, Kiss My End Zone. I mean, deep playoff clashes, back and forth, drama,
finals,
a lot of junk being thrown from both sides of the fence here.
Finals appearances.
Yeah, deep playoff runs for both teams for trophies and punch your passport to the finals. I think that's the best.
I think both teams. Sorry, Mo. I think both teams like winning and losing, so it's not like one-sided, right? Because a rivalry, if one team's just constantly winning, it's not much of a rivalry, right? Like the fact that every time these two teams suit up, either team could win. It's just who's going to be better that night, and so yeah, that adds to the rivalry.
Yeah, and so I think that's key. Up and coming rivalry. The Vultures, plenty of POF might have a bit of we'll see the return game here.
Yeah.
I think that's something to watch out for.
I think Plenty of Fish IG team is another one that could be up there. They had a final showdown.
Easy fun against IG team or you guys is up there as well. Mm-hmm. I think, but if you're looking for outside the box, I go Vultures POF.
Okay. Yeah. You know why I asked the question? I mean, I'll be leaving soon, so that Kiss My End Zone IG team rivalry that currently is we agree on is the best right now. I was curious, and okay, once I'm gone, Kiss My End Zone will probably find a replacement QB, but maybe that rivalry won't be the same. So I was looking for what's the next coming one. So yeah, Plenty of Fish. I think Plenty of Fish IG team has a lot of good storylines, especially them meeting in the finals. They could meet in the finals again. But yeah, Plenty of Fish Vultures would be a good one, especially with and that I love the nature of the tightness of the division, right? 7 teams. Sometimes you play not sometimes, you will play one team more than once. So I think that lends itself to creating some new rivalries here.
All right, Co-Ed 2, as we move into the final 25 of the show here. Co-Ed 2, big game. Rookies against Cavaliers. That's a massive one because Cavs are 3-1. Rookies are 4-0. We're almost at the halfway point. They will both be at the halfway point for game number 5 after this tilt. Winner of this game, are we giving them the number 1 seed?
I'd have to look at the schedules, but I'll say this: if the Rookies win, yes. If Cavaliers win, no, because Cavaliers already have the 1 loss on their record. They're a very good team. I don't think they're perfect. There are some flaws on the team. Rookies are a bit more well-rounded, but also not perfect. They can be had in certain games. If we just quickly look at the rookie schedule, Air Force, Cavaliers, back that pass up, Pick 6, Fit Squad, Ludenal. I think they can get 1, maybe 2 more losses if it comes at the hands of, for Cavaliers, that is, a loss at the hands of the rookies. I'm talking about the rookies. They could get 2 more losses. Could be Cavaliers, could be against Fit Squad. 1, if not 2 losses. And then from Cavaliers' point of view, they have the rookies, Ludenal, who's going to carry the boats, Pick 6, and back that pass up. I think the only team realistically that can give them a loss there is the rookies. So actually, now that I put it that way, becomes a bit more of an interesting question. I'm still gonna go with the rookies though. That if they lose, they still have a shot at the number 1 seed.
I don't think so. If the Rooks lose, I think they're in trouble. Not in trouble to be ahead of playoffs. I think they don't get the number 1 seed. I think Cavaliers starting to grow now as a team. Their defense is like the Pentagon. You can't penetrate it at all if you try to. I think they have like 5 pick 6s already. That's crazy to have from a team. I think it was all in situation Fit Squad that happened. We will have that game resumed at a later date, and hopefully we'll have a clear idea who the better team is with those two. But I think that this team, if they take out the rookies, they can run the rest of their schedule. LTN is not great. Who's going to carry the boats? Pick 6 is competitive, and back that pass off. Not going to compete with them. So they could be a 9-win team, depending on how they do against Fit Squad.
Right.
And so I think this game means more to Cavaliers because if they do win it, they control that division going towards the final half of the season.
So quickly, because we're running out of time, but Fit Squad is the overlapping team for both Cavaliers and the rookies. So Fit Squad, do they beat Cavaliers?
I'm going to say yes.
And Fit Squad, do they beat the rookies?
Yeah. I think Fit Squad.
So if Fit Squad beats both, then yes, the rookies versus Cavaliers could be basically who gets the number 1 seed.
Yeah, for sure. Kamikaze Nighthawks mix. They are struggling in Co-Ed 2, Iggy. They're both on the outside looking in for playoff spots. They're on the red side of the bracket or the red side of the standings right now. Could one or both get back in the playoff conversation? Could they steal a playoff spot essentially now?
I think so. I think Kamikaze can be that team. They've had Alexis Ferrand at quarterback over Gabriel Lemonde, not by choice. It looks like just Gabriel Lemonde was unavailable for the 2, maybe 3 past games. Alexis has been throwing a few times here and there. Doesn't necessarily have the experience, of like 50 games of quarterback under his belt. It's like serviceable enough to get by, but they haven't been getting by. They haven't been getting the wins. So once Gabriel Lemonde is back and Alexis Ferrand is back at snapper or receiver, that makes the teams a lot more dangerous. They were neck and neck with back that pass up, who are 2-2 right now. I think I'm not too worried about Kamikaze as long as Gabriel Lemonde is back playing quarterback for the team. Nighthawks mix a little bit like Nighthawks in Division C. It's going to be a little tougher for them, right? It's a bit of the block party franchise players on the team, and just like making the jump from Division D to Division C is very tough. Coed 3 to Coed 2 is a lot tougher, especially better defenses on the Coed 2 teams.
Yeah, I think Kamikaze, I put my money on them to make a run for a playoff spot. I think there's less questions about them. Right now, Nighthawks they have more questions. I have score capped at now 2 of their games, and they've been blown out in those games, and they have not played well. And they get Kiss My Christmas Balls coming up next Thursday, I think it is. But they are in trouble because they just don't have the right mix right now. They just don't know how to close out, keep games competitive, and play calling is a little bit suspect, I find. Fab Robillard, who we like a lot, had birthday to him, has not been great in this division. 2-1 set with Marc-Antoine Martin being the guy. They haven't really figured out how to use their female athletes in their offense yet. 1 or 2 passes here and there. I think they're in trouble. I think Kamikaze, who they'll play, as you said before, June 17th, winner of that game will keep themselves alive. I think Kamikaze will do so. So, yeah, I think right now they would be the team that would jump back into a playoff spot and steal one from whoever it is by the time we hit mid-July for the season. Coed 3.
Better cast of characters in terms of the female players for
agreed. Coed 3, Bondé and 1-9ers. Saw 1-9ers play. They played free agent squad. Nothing to really hooter and holler about.
Yeah.
But right now, Iggy, are they the better team over 1-9ers?
I haven't seen Bonzit since the winter, but when I saw them, it was a solid team. I liked what I saw, and I can only assume that they've improved over, 12 weeks ago that I saw them, maybe more. By the way, rain report, we got some gusting winds, and the rain is starting to hit the window a little harder. Rain starting to pick up in millimeters and velocity.
I used to do the weather back in the day.
Yes, I why am I doing the weather report? But it's because I have a window. Do you have a window where you are?
No, I'm actually in my basement right now, so I have no windows near me.
Oh, that's it. That's just a shout out to your previous employment.
Yeah. 3 years ago I did that.
It's true. That was during COVID times. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway,
so I like Bonzit, especially the way you like lackadaisically mentioned 1-9ers and kind of gave them a shrug. I mean, were they playing down to the competition? I think it was like a 40-0 win, so maybe they were just like, oh well. How did they look? Did you score keep the game, or you saw it from a distance?
Niners, I score kept the game. They played Bandit on July 4th, by the way. Okay, so I think Charles Presser, good quarterback. Receiving core is pretty good. You know him very well. Luca Canville, Jules Farmer, Alex Blaze on this roster. They have a good core. But I just think that game against Free Agent Squad was not indicative. And they get ghosted coming up, which I'll get the score keep again on Monday, which we'll talk about next. And we'll see then, right? And again, Pookie's not that great. Block Party, okay, decent. Gold Digger's not that great. So Bandit is their game. And Michael Scott's Tots might be the two games that gives them the best run for their money. Mm-hmm. I think right now, Bandit's probably the best. 1-9ers have a chance to close the gap. That's how I see it.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, just quickly back on like free agent squad game. How were they in the first drive and the second drive?
Who, free agent
'Cause
squad or
the-
49ers?
One and Niners, because
It
that's
was
really,
no competition because free agent squad was out of their element, not in the same weight class.
Yeah.
It was over after the first drive. Like you knew it was not going to be pretty.
right. Yeah.
And it's no fun for anybody at that point. So, anyway, Ghosted. We finally got the picture done, by the way.
Yes,
It
I
took
saw that.
3 tries. We got the team picture done. Thank you very much, Ghosted, for your patience. So, for those who don't know,
Yeah, it's
Ghosted
much
is
better.
So yeah, it's a much better upgrade for what we have. I told their captain, Laurent Potvin, it'll be much better. So anyway, it's a co-ed division, but they're a team full of females. They've been playing hard. They've been competitive. They had a tough one against Straw Hats, which our score kept lost by 4.
Tough loss
on Monday. Your thoughts? I think they got something there. I just think they just got to get more comfortable within their offense. I think, their quarterback and Karen Menard has to figure out other options beyond Jessica Daou and Jessica Gosselin. I think she's got to get a little bit more diverse with her passing palettes.
Why do you say that, Lorian?
Because
Potvin
I
has
just thought she
19
forced the
targets.
ball to the 2 Jesses a little too much compared to what she has for options on offense.
But I don't see the stats reflect that. I see Lorian, if you look at the targets, Jessica Daou, 16, Jessica Gosselin, 15, Lorian Potvin, 19, Marie-Christine Gauthier, 20. So I see a good distribution of the ball.
So if you go to the game against Straw Hats on Monday,
Right.
Gosselin got 8 targets, was 3 of 8. Daou got 1 of 5. Right, so
Okay,
4 of 13. You take away
but
those
Lorian
numbers,
Potvin-
4 of 13. She's 8 of 6 for the game.
But Jasmine Farmer had 4 targets. Lorian
Right,
Potvin had
but
5.
Gosselin had
Marie-Christine
8
Gauthier
targets. Daou had 5 targets.
Okay, but so did Marie-Christine Gauthier and Lorian Potvin. So,
But in the red zone, those were the targets, though, for them.
okay.
So I want to see Manal really use her weapons to the full extreme and not just, keep it to a 2-player game in the red zone.
Okay, yeah. So you're speaking specifically in the red zone, which is fair.
Yeah.
Sure. I mean, you have the best player on the field in Jasmine Farmer. More of a defensive player, but can definitely play offense. And Lorian Potvin, I've played with her. She's great offensively, great hands, great spatial awareness, and just general awareness of where she's positioned on the field, how to run her route at depth, where to sit in the zone. So she's great too. So sure, target those 2 a bit more in the red zone. I mean, Marie-Christine Gauthier, I've seen her play a lot. Only got 1 reception on 5 targets, but she's a reliable pass catcher for especially in the red zone as well. So sure, yeah, she could. If Caroline Menard can improve on that, I could see them. They should have beat the Straw Hats, right?
They should have beat the Straw Hats. Yeah, Straw Hats got lucky. Straw Hats got very, very lucky in that game. Division E, probably our most popular one right now. In terms of
most popular division,
it's a good division. I score kept a couple games here, and we have our favorites in this division in terms of fan favorites. I think you have a big follow, Niggy, in Division E.
I'm writing the articles, so
yes, I know you are. So I lost my train of thought here. Okay, back to the script. I lost my train of thought here. The best undefeated team is who? And who is the most overrated undefeated team?
Who's the best? I mean, it's between Mamma Mia and Western right now. I mean, Western's not a Div E team, so
neither is Mamma Mia.
So Mamma Mia. They're in a less extreme version of Western. They have a brand new quarterback to FPF, at least. I don't know if he's played elsewhere, but first time throwing in FPF's flag league. Western is not. It's his 4th season in FPF. Mamma Mia, sure, you have Mike Caparelli, great offensive and defensively in Division E, but like I'm pretty sure I don't know by heart, but like I would venture a guess that they're like 5 points under the cap, whereas like Western's like right up against the cap. So is Mamma Mia really a Div D team? They wouldn't be 5-0, I don't think, in Div D.
No.
They'll probably be 3-2, maybe 4-1, maybe. But yeah, that's my analysis there. If I quickly just touch on like no brain, no gain, good team, but not the best out there. They could go 10-0, but still, Div E, you get a lot of variety in teams in terms of how good teams are. If No Brain No Gain had a Mamma Mia and a Western on their schedule and were able to beat them, then that would solidify them as like one of the best teams in the or the best undefeated team in the division. Freshman XL are not there yet. They're getting better, and good for them because they struggled. But getting more reps and more experience, they're now 3-0. Love to see that. And Patikara Junior, I like the team. They're luckily the QB Alex Mans has the luxury of having an amazing defense behind him in order to shelter and provide him some leeway as he progresses and develops at the quarterback position.
Right.
So to me, there's a flaw there. And Swiffer Wet Jets. I don't know what I'm gonna screw up that name at one point, and I don't know what I'm gonna say, but I have a feeling it's gonna be a problem. Haven't seen them a full game yet. I'm not sure, Mo, if you have. It's a great start to the season. I just haven't seen you enough. So first season in FPF, if you're 4-0, I'm like, okay, are you like too good for the division, or are you just beating on bad teams? I'm not quite sure about Swiffer Wet Jets just yet. I'm still in reservation on them.
Okay, so I think Mommy is slightly better than Western right now.
Really? Okay.
Slightly better than Western right now.
Okay.
I think they have a little bit more working for them. I think Western had a tough time against Longhorns. They should have ran these guys off, and they beat them by like 5 or 6, I think, at the end of the day. Mommy has blown away their teams. They had one glitch, like one hiccup, I think week 2, week 3 of their schedule.
Against Baby Sharks, I want to say.
Yeah, something like that. It was
yeah.
tricky. They came through in the end.
Yeah.
No Brain, No Gain. I've not seen yet, so I can't comment on them yet. But the other two, Le Petit Carreau Junior and Swiffer Wet Jets, they're both competitive, but I still think there's a gap with those two teams, or those three teams compared to Mamma Mia and Western. I think those, if we're looking at a collision course, Mamma Mia, Western would be the top 2 seeds in the playoff bracket that we would have for them.
So.
Overrated amongst the undefeateds left, I think Freshman XL is probably overrated right now. I know the guy, they're cool dudes, good group of guys. I'm friendly with these guys. Keon Cyrus, who's been in the league last year with these guys, really nice guy, super A+, nicest human being, not a bad bone in his body. I love when they go on Instagram stories to post up, hey, another one, to be 3-0. But you know what? We're going to find out now, right? They get Swiffer Wet Jets later on in the season. Cali de Rohan will be tricky for them. They don't have, they got some tricky games for them. So I think right now they're overrated, and that they probably will come down a little bit here and be probably resembling more of a 6-win, maybe 7-win team at the end of the day. But big steps for them, though, compared to where they were last year, right?
Yes.
Big steps for them last season. Sure. At the halfway point, Eggy, is there one team in the middle of the pack of the overall standings that could crash the top 10 of this division overall?
I don't know if you've noticed, Div E's page takes so much longer than the other pages to load. There's definitely some code behind that that's freezing it up. I mean, maybe it's because there's 38 teams, but it's literally the first thing.
To, sabotage the league now on his way out, burn the bridges. It's thing here.
It's literally the first thing that I said, like that I wrote in my Division E article, the first one of the season. I'm like, why the hell does your page take so long to load? Middle of the pack team. Does that include like a 3-win team or like 2-win
anyone
teams?
that's middle of the pack, like maybe sees 12 to 20, whatever, that could jump in the top 10 type of thing.
Well, I'm seeing like an 11 seed Baby Sharks at 3-1. Very good team. I think that team can, I think, be like in the semifinals, so top 4. Let's see here. Bullshy, you score cap one of their games, I believe. I saw some team pictures and some individual pictures at Stade de Montréal.
Did I?
Yes, you did. I'm telling you. Let's click on them and see. Stade de Montréal, first game of the season, 31-0.
I don't remember, man. Right now, like my Division E page is not loading up yet, man. So I'm going off of the screen that we have right now. I did not do that picture, by the way.
No, you didn't. But does this team look familiar?
No.
God damn it, Mokan! Why do you do so many games? Look, they lost 44-16, to Mamma Mia, as we said. So they're clearly not in the upper echelon of the teams. But they beat Locked and Loaded 34-19, 32-31 over Backyardigans. So and 31-0. So in their first 3 games ever in FPF, they were putting 31 or more points. That's pretty impressive. It is not easy to score 5 touchdowns in FPF in your first few games. By the way, weather update. I'm still seeing very light rain. I'm not seeing, like, you can see behind, it's like not the end of times here. Minimal wind, minimal rain. I'm sure the games, well, I'm not in Laval. I want to say if the games were at Loyola, the games would definitely be played. So back to Bullshy. I'm curious about them. They're starting 3-1. I'm curious. I'll leave it at that. And then so definitely Baby Sharks can make a big push here. My God, this page takes so much longer.
Yeah, the page is still stuck for me, man. There we go. We're back in. All right, baby. I'm back in, baby. Woo! I'm back.
Yeah, Team Timbo, not convinced. Diddlers, I'm not convinced. Airs, I'm interested. Again, I'm kind of curious. Like Bullshy, I want to see them. Not many teams here that I see making. It's those two. It's Bullshy, I'm curious, and Baby Sharks and Shamedy Shows, but they're top 10. So, yeah.
I think Bloodline I'm watching out for.
Yeah. I was gonna say them too, but I'm still not convinced. But
Bloodline.
They're getting better.
That's who I'm watching out for.
Okay.
Warriors maybe, but Bloodline's who I got circled on this roster right now. I can make the jump up. Trailer Park Boys have been competitive. They've been good. I think they can crash as well. But I think those 3 teams, 12, 13, 14, are the ones I'm watching out for moving forward. All right, Eggs. That'll do it for us, man.
And look at that, right on the nose here, hitting our mark as we intended.
Yeah. A reminder: playoffs. I need 5 to be playoff eligible, so please check your rosters at the halfway point. If we missed something, we can look back. But again, the rule is, if you come to us in July, hey, some guy was playing on May 20th, we can't look back. It's too far away. It has to be within a week of the game.
Yes, 7 days officially.
7 days of your game. So if you played Monday, you got to let us know within 7 days of the Monday game. So please, please, please look at your roster, double check everything's cool, and if it is, great. If not, email us and we can look into it, see if maybe we bleeped up, or hey, your guy didn't check in with us or did not wear a proper uniform or whatever it is. Let us know. Congrats, Eagle. By the time this is posted. Congrats. And by the time we reconvene again, you will be a married man. You know?
What? We're posting this on Friday morning.
But by the time we reconvene.
Reconvene, yes.
Yeah. But, you know, he's a big, and I'll say this from the bottom of my heart, like he and Peasy were the brains behind the whole CTA remodeling back 10, 12, 13 years ago, whenever it was. And Eagle was the producer, the true brains behind us idiots being on the front of the cameras. The What you guys don't see from Eagle is that behind the scenes, he would literally troubleshoot everything, give me my cookies and water, and get PZ's schedule ready for the week ahead.
Coffees.
You know, he did so much for all of us here at FPF overall in terms of what he was, even for the road shows included, and even for everyday operations behind the scenes with emails and in-house discussions for league rules and everything that came with it. That we're so proud of him. We're happy for him. Thank you so much, Iggy. And we'll see you next week. Magic words, please, Iggy.
There's no magic words because I don't do that.
Good night.
Put the place up, yeah, we know